Well, that's pretty crap lighting. I'm under an umbrella and the sun is in front of me, and I'm in the shade, but the lighting's not very good. There's nothing reflecting any light onto me. Um, Jazz is somewhere. Um, the injection really helped her. It was lovely yesterday. The vet we saw is the oldest vet in there. They're very tall, the two owners. One of them's called Jesus. It's a Spanish, so mainly Spanish people work in that surgery, and they all speak French, Spanish, English. I don't know what other languages they speak. But it was the oldest guy that we saw, the one that splinted. Do you remember the splinted one of the Mrs. Brahmas? So she couldn't walk. That was back. When was that? Was that before we went to Canada, or it was several years ago? But it was him that we saw, and he examined her quite thoroughly, and um, was pushing, and pressing on her leg and whatever, and eventually he got a reaction from her. Yeah, she looked like she was going to go for him, and she would have done if we hadn't have all moved away. Um, so he took her off and X-rayed her, and then took us through. After about 5 minutes or so, took us through to show us the results of the X-ray. And we walked in, and the screen was up on the wall with the X-ray on it, and she's on the counter underneath, very happily having a clean. She's tucked in between boxes of syringes and something else, and just having a clean. She seemed quite settled there. It was lovely. Um, but you could see an infection, um, possibly around the bone or in the bone, of the humerus, which is the bone that comes down, this bone that comes down into your elbow. So at the bottom of that, as it gets to the elbow. Um, so um, we've got to take her back in 3 weeks to see if he's given her anti-inflammatory. We got anti-inflammatory medicine that we're going to give her daily. She's had a dose today. He gave her an anti-inflammatory injection. I don't know how that long or how strong that was, but she, yesterday when we got home, she was already beginning to walk a bit, and then I showed you the photo, with her up on the chair that she lifted herself onto and off. I keep finding her trying to sharpen her claw on a bit of wood, and I'm thinking, don't do that. Don't, the pulling. I can't imagine it's comfortable, but so she's out somewhere, and she's eating, and we kept her in last night, so she wasn't able to go out through the cat flap. But I I put I've lost our litter tray, and we probably haven't got any litter anyway. But I put down a big cardboard box with some brown paper bags in it, and then some compost on that, so that if she needed to go to the loo overnight, but she's not used it. She doesn't use anything like that. She'll use a bath mat. She did that some years ago when she'd been really unwell, and she'd obviously was upstairs, and she'd gone in the bathroom and done a poo in the middle of the bath mat, very carefully with her one leg, covered it all over, folded it all up. It was so sweet. I know that you wouldn't say that normally, but it's like, she'd gone to that bother. So I'd put down my green fleece for her to sleep on last night, and I half imagined that she would have pooed in that, but she didn't. So last time I saw her, she'd come out the front, but she's not here, so she might be out the back. But she's getting around. You'd think that there was anything wrong. She made a hell of a hullabaloo on the way to the vets and back. She hates it being in the basket. And we got caught um, on the way back by an enormous convoy exceptional. We all got pulled over, and then we got pulled into a parking area off the road completely. And these great big 2 lorries, pulling, loaded with, delivering, holding, pulling, carrying. I can't. They must have been carrying on very long, low loaders. Um, 2 pieces of a walkway, a bridge walkway, They're called passerelles. And I didn't know that at the time. I've looked since. But they're massive. And all the traffic was backed up. So, she was in the car longer than she wanted to be. When we got to the vets, there's two big, rough pullet parking areas that have always had great big, massive potholes in them, all the way up in and into the vets. Well, that's all being resurfaced, so the noise there of all of the resurfacing and the steamroller and the lorries and when we got there, it was quite traumatic to get out of the car for me, for us. So it must have been horrible for her, all that noise. So anyway, she's fine. So she's on the meds for until they're finished. I don't know how many meals we've got, and she's getting 5 meals a day, so it could be for a while. And I think she'll probably be more comfortable than she's been for a long time, because I often wonder whether she's got arthritis in that leg, because it's her only leg, and it takes a lot of pounding, that leg, a lot of she's jumping and dropping down off things, and I've noticed over the last year maybe that she's more careful as she comes down. If she's coming down from a height, she finds something to come down onto, and sort of graduates her descent rather than just dropping from a great height. So, but she's okay. He said if um, if it isn't resolved, and there is a potential it could be a cancer in her bone. I'm hoping, obviously not, but I know that that's what could be. So we just have to hope for the best, really. We went out this afternoon, run out of washing up liquid, and I like sharp knives when I'm cooking. I want knives that I can cut well with, and not have to use a lot of pressure because of my thumbs. And I was cooking the lunch, cutting up broccoli, and my best knives were all in the dishwasher, and I was left with knives that were useless. I know that I can get them out and wash them, but it's a pain. You go to do something and your knives aren't there. So I said, well, we'll go down and get washing up liquid, and we can look in there for knives, but they're really crap knives in there. Not this, I want the knife I've got that I bought 2 or 3 years ago now is a Shanzu knife, which is still really good, is much sharper than anything else that we have. And I rarely, if ever, cut myself on it. So I thought I'd like one a bit shorter than that, because I do have a short knife that isn't that make, but that's also a good knife. The blade is about that long. I think it's about 7 or 8 inches. So I've looked on Amazon, who I've boycotted a lot, but I looked on Amazon. But for some reason, Amazon is just refusing my new bank card. It's done that several times, and it's really annoying me that it's just, I go to buy something and it says some sort of verification. So I'm going to have to contact the bank and say, what's going on? We had another problem. Mark was buying something from a place where they would only accept a bank transfer. So when I set up a bank transfer, we have to wait for 2 days for it to be ready to use. So we waited 2 days, then it was ready to use, and I paid it. I thought. And then Mark came in to me a day or so later, and he went, I've got an email if they haven't received the payment. I went, well, I paid it. So I went in, and it hadn't come out of the account. So I thought I'd paid it. So I think it was last night, and I was going to go to bed. I was really tired, and it was that time of night. And he said, I've got an email. They said they have not received. Oh, God. I paid it. So I went to the bank, paid it again, and then realised that what was happening was I was getting a pop-up saying it's been rejected. But it's been rejected by their bank, not us. So I went to the English bank account, paid it with that really easily. But it's annoying because it's in euros, so subjected to an exchange rate and everything. But I just paid it from there. So I didn't go to bed early because I couldn't have gone to bed and left that. It's like when there's a thing hanging over you, it's like, oh, just do it. So I've done it. It's paid for. It's a U-boat, quite big apparently, so it's not going to come through in the post box. Um, so yeah, I'm going to have to write to the bank and ask them why my bank card's being rejected. I've just used it in Leclerc, thinking, oh, is it going to get rejected? And it didn't. It went through. So busy in there. Lots of English people wandering around speaking in English. Some of them loudly. I hate that. I just think, oh, please keep your voice down. You don't need to shout. Um, what else? So we had the meal with the art group yesterday. It was lovely, but it was really hard work. It's hard enough work when we're in the art class listening to and responding to the French, but in Le Patisson, the acoustics are really bad. So it's incredibly noisy when it's full. It was full. Really bad acoustics. So you just can't hear. You can't hear, you just have to let it all wash over you because you can't hear. And I know my friend Dean, opposite me, struggles with noise at the moment. She's not well. And so, that was hard for her, and she's French. So, but it was a nice meal. We had canette, which is duckling leg. Now, you sort of think duckling leg's not going to be a very big leg, but actually, there was a lot of meat on it. It was really lovely. It was coated with something, I'm not sure, and then really nice sauce. There were a few pommes de terre on the plate. I think I had three. I think Cleo had about six on her plate. Um, but three was enough anyway because I wasn't meant to be eating carbs. Going on with my hair, it needs washing really. Um, and what else was on there? There was a vegetable. There must have been a vegetable or some puree, orangey puree of something on the plate. So it was really nice. And then the dessert was caramelized apple with some vanilla ice cream. Um, and we had coffee. We had a glass of wine each, and it came to €42. So that's €21 each. That included the wine and the coffee. You can't get that, can you? You can't. That is the thing about here is that when you eat out, not only, mostly, I mean, obviously you're going to get some bad ones, but mostly you get quality. You don't get a vast quantity, but you come away feeling well fed and you haven't paid loads of money. It's, that's why it's easy to eat out. It's, you can eat out twice a week if you want, and it doesn't take a lot of money. The flooding, the loss of all those lives, the loss of all those children is not. It's hard to think about it. It's hard to imagine what's going on for their families, and to see the devastation and the speed at which that water rose is just incredible. And Trump will not accept any responsibility, or Musk, for any of that. That they, got rid of so many people that were responsible for keeping people safe around the weather. It's, we saw it earlier on, didn't we? Saw air accidents happening, and now we see this. And is this the beginning, I think, of your hurricane season over there? I'm not sure. So it's like, what more is to come? It's just awful. Meanwhile, he's thinking about putting gold leaf up on the cornices in one of the rooms they were sitting in. And there are people that still support him. There are people that still come to my channel supporting him, supporting him to spend all that money on gold leaf and let people die. And somebody said to me about, that's it, the uninvited people are going to be kicked off Medicaid. Well, who are the uninvited people? Who are they? I don't think the First Nations people invited you to live in their country, did they? Were you invited? I don't think so. that's the thing, isn't it? It's like the, I think they probably call them First Nations people in Australia. The Aboriginals did not invite white men to come and live in their country. White men invited themselves. It's so fucking arrogant. So, where did that come from? It came from, oh, well, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to stop there because I could rant for ages about what's going on, and um, it makes no difference. It makes no difference. And I just wish people would stop being so fucking blind and see what's going on and see that that Trump and Musk is no longer, now they're fighting. It took them a long time. I thought they'd be fighting like that months ago. I'm surprised it's taken this long for them to start. Well, I did it this way and you did it that way, and my dad's penis is bigger than your dad's penis. I thought that would happen months ago and it didn't. Um, I don't think know where it's going to come to, but it wouldn't surprise me if Musk doesn't get deported. Thoughts and prayers. Um, on a final note, and I know that you'll be very sad to hear this, I pressed quit instead of save on my game this afternoon. So I had spent an hour harvesting a massive field of corn and almost another massive field of corn and half a soybean field this afternoon. Took me about an hour. Probably wouldn't have done that in real life. I don't know how long it takes. And pressed quit instead of save. So I've got to do it all again. There, you can do thoughts and prayers for me as well. Okay. On that note, I'm leaving now. And I'll see you on another day. Thanks for watching.